scrimmage today?
Well, it was a long one, I was very pleased that our guys kept their focus. Because we're playing three different teams out there, really three and a half. So you play some and then you watch a lot. But the thing I was pleased with was the level of focus and concentration from everybody on the field. And that sounds easy, but it's not.
What do you think of your quarterbacks, and are you starting to see any separation at all? Where are they at as far as?
I thought they both did a good job. There's a couple things they missed, but I'm pleased. I think they're making progress. Today wasn't an easy day. If you were going into the win, that win was, you say anything over 6 has an effect. Well, it was like 12 today, so had an effect.
I guess, can you just talk about how you assess this quarterback competition and how you're kind of evaluating it?
Yeah, you know what? I think what we'll do is we'll sit down at the end of spring, Kirk and I and the offensive staff, and the numbers are the numbers, and then you go with what you feel, and again, is there a timeline where we have to say this? No, not really. I would like to have somebody named sooner than later, but we'll figure that out. So, but they're doing a good job. I'm pleased.
In terms of your younger players, they've been able to play in a couple scrimmages now. How have you seen them grow and develop and feel more comfortable in those game situations?
Well, that's exactly right. They have to play. You can talk about it. You can do simulated things in practice. But you need to go out there and do it by yourself, no coach telling you what to do, because there's a part of this thing that's figuring it out, right? You give them the tools, but then they're out there and things change on a split second, and you got to be able to figure out, okay, now what tool do I use to adjust to this change? And to me, that's what young players struggle with, right? And you hear guys say, well, the game just slowed down. That's what they mean. Like everything happens, and when an adjustment is needed, it's slow, and feel like very comfortable doing it. Where right now, a lot of the young guys, the game feels like this. Like as the ball's being snapped, they're still thinking about what am I supposed to do, and now you got to be running, and that's when you can tell. Like I say, you can see a guy thinking in his feet. The way he runs, you can see that when they're thinking.
Is there any position group or any standouts from the scrimmage today, individually or position group?
It's a good question. Probably I'm not the best guy to ask. You probably had a better idea than I. Who'd you think? Anybody stand out to you? Quarterbacks? Yeah. Good or bad?
You tell me. I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Anybody stand out to you? I got the worst view in the house, right? Say again? Yeah, Aaron is getting back to his old self, right? Like he's coming back from that injury. I think what I do see is he's running more aggressively than I ever remember him running, right? So hats off to Coach Shaw and that whole running back room of really bringing an aggressive style to their runs.
I guess it's kind of week to week throughout the spring. Are you kind of seeing the incremental progress that you were hoping to see at this time of the year?
We are. Yeah, we're seeing progress. We have a few guys that are bumped up, but it's not going to be anything permanent, long term. So that's good. We have 2 more practices and then the spring game. So this will be a big week. We have 3 weeks of cumulative work. Now let's go get that 4 weeks of cumulative work, not 3, 4 weeks of cumulative work. So now let's go get that last one.
What have you seen out of the receiver group, and is there anybody that really stepped to the forefront of that unit?
I guess the guy who's actually, I think, performed at the most consistent level and been a leader in that room is Isaiah Washington. I think he stood out as being consistent. Because really that's what it is. We got a bunch of young wideouts. Just consistency is going to be the key.
I don't think we've asked you about Johnny Shepard yet. What's been standing out about him in his first spring, and how has he done in these scrimmages?
Yeah, he's really improving by leaps and bounds. It's good to see. You're a young freshman quarterback out of high school. There's so much to learn. So when I talk about a game goes a little fast, I am sure it's going fast for him. But you can see, where when he gets it and it all slows down, where he's gonna really be a good player.
Can you talk about how you're going to run the spring game and what people can expect from the spring game?
I don't know yet because I got to see how we do Tuesday and Thursday. We're right on the cusp, injury-wise, where it could have an effect on how you run it. But I like to run it as a game, 2 separate teams, 2 separate, we split the whole squad, coaching staff, trainers, everybody in the Hale Center goes on one team or the other. So you're all rooting for somebody, and it doesn't matter if you're, we may even take the food service people, put them on a team. So we like to get that competition going after Thursday's practice. It gets a little spirited.
Coach, a punt returner and kick returner. Obviously, Cookshank did it for a while. Who's in the mix there, and what do you see from that competition?
I think that's wide open. Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that can do it. I think you look at some of the young guys. Rochelle, he's got ability. I know Max wants to do it. I'm not sure I'm going to risk Max back there running kickoffs back. But we'll make sure we have some depth there, And then punts is the harder one, right? Punt returning to me is the toughest thing to do in football. It's everybody's running down to kill you, and the ball spins a weird way, and the wind moves it. So it's that's a tough job. We got to make sure we find that. Kickoffs, it's not quite the ability to break one. It might be different, but the act of securing the ball is not as hard.
A couple of players have said that this is the best it's been in a long time in terms of camaraderie, team chemistry, energy. I mean, have you seen anything stand out from your perspective, kind of in that regard?
I have, and it's really been leadership, right? So I think the leadership on the team has set the standard, and the standard is the standard. So if you're not going to live up to the standard, you're probably not going to be here very long. And as soon as that becomes a player-led function, that's a big turning point. So I'm pleased with that.